On Tomorrow's World Today, we explore the cutting-edge advances that are shaping 4 different worlds. The world of inspiration, where the wonders of the natural world amaze and inspire us. The world of creation, where ideas come to life from traditional arts. The world of innovation, where ideas and inventions move us all forward. The world of production, where innovations are mass-produced to improve our lives. From Inventionland World Headquarters, here's your host, George Davison.
Disasters, whether natural or man-made, they can strike without warning. Fires, floods, and storms. We've all known somebody that's been affected, and I've experienced it myself, right here firsthand, on the set of Tomorrow's World Today. It was on day 1 of filming, season 1, and here we are in season 9. Jeez, but this picture is from back in the day. You can see all the stuff on the floor, it's soaking wet. What happened was that one of the crew members was on a ladder and they struck one of the fire sprinklers and it just started spraying everywhere. The set was soaked, the crew was soaked. You just never know when a disaster can strike. Now, it could have been a showstopper for us, but thanks to quick response and advanced recovery equipment, the space was restored. And we were back to filming later that day. And I'll tell you, it felt like a miracle. And that experience opened my eyes to the power of disaster recovery. There's a lot of technology in this space, and it's transforming how we get back from recovery faster. So I'm gonna send Greg to the world of innovation to explore how one company is leading the charge and revolutionizing the recovery process.
As natural disasters grow more frequent and intense, the need for a fast and effective response is crucial for recovery. Technology and techniques in damage restoration continue to evolve, and that's why we're here at ServPro headquarters in Gallatin, Tennessee. I'm going to meet with Kim Brooks. She's the Director of Communications. We'll discuss that evolution and more today and in Tomorrow's World. Hey, Kim.
Hi, Greg.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.
Now, Kim, we've all seen over the last few years the increase in weather-related events and natural disasters that are happening all across the country and even across the globe. How has that impacted ServPro and how you've been conducting business over, say, the last 5, 6, or even 7 years?
Well, we started out as a primarily residential response company, and then we've grown through the years, over the last 50 years, to over 2,200 franchises across the U.S. and Canada. And so those teams are strategically positioned around the country. We've got specialized storm and disaster response teams that can go in and help in any situation, help these communities recover as quickly as possible.
Was that growth planned? Was it spontaneous? How did that all come about?
It's been primarily strategic because we want to be able to continue to grow our capacity and our scalability so that we can go in and assist more people in their time of need.
Well, I'd love to learn more about the history of the company.
I would love to show you. Follow me. Well, more than 50 years ago, Ted and Doris Isaacson founded ServPro, and they started it in Sacramento, California. And up until just a few years ago, we were still a family-owned business. And at that time, we actually started as a painting business, if you can believe it.
Really?
And grew into a cleaning business. And we eventually moved our headquarters from California to Gallatin, Tennessee, to be within 600 miles of 50% of the U.S. population. We then also started to grow and scale our business. We added national accounts, national advertising, and we have a world-class training facility that allows us to bring in all of our franchise owners to learn and train how to do all of the things that we do to go out into the community and help them recover from, water damages in residential or large commercial scale losses.
So establishing that training facility, that really enabled you to get all of your franchisees all on the same page. So whenever you go into a large disaster area, everybody's working together to help out.
Yes, that's absolutely right.
So Kim, say a weather event or a natural disaster is happening. How does ServPro get mobilized in order to get into those communities and start helping out?
Well, our disaster response teams actually start planning and monitoring long before the event begins. We even have our own on-site meteorologist, and so she helps us determine where the best places are that we can strategically and safely position and stage teams ahead of events. That way, when the event passes, we can actually get into those communities more quickly to help assist the recovery effort.
So you're staging your storm response teams in areas where you already have franchises, and then they go in and mobilize with those franchisees in order to get into the community.
Speed is so important in these disaster situations for a number of reasons. One, when it comes to damage, if you're dealing with, let's say, a water-related event, the quicker you get in there and take care of things, you can help prevent things like secondary damages like mold from happening. But more importantly, for infrastructure, if there are facilities affected like government facilities, hospitals, schools, these are essential for the functions of a community. And so we want to get those back up and running to help restore lives as quickly as possible. And then as it comes to businesses, every day that they're down, that's a day of lost revenue and potentially lost jobs. So we want to get them back up and running, because at the end of the day, it's all about helping these businesses, these communities, and these people recover as quickly as possible.
So you use the phrase, like it never even happened. What does that mean for ServPro?
Like it never even happened is not just a tagline, it's our brand promise. And basically what that means is that when fire and water take control of your life, we want to help you give it back. So disasters are stressful, and people just want their lives back in order. So whether you're a homeowner and you've had a pipe burst in your home, we're going to come in, we're going to do the cleanup, the build back, to the last coat of paint on the wall. We want it to be like that damage and that event never even happened.
It really just highlights how important all of the training that you do really is. So I want to get a look at your on-site training facility.
Great, you're going to get to meet David Ragsdale.
I'm at ServPro outside of Nashville, Tennessee, and I will be speaking with Restoration Manager David Ragsdale about their hands-on training with real-world simulations in specialized training houses.
Hey, David.
Hey, Greg.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Well, David, in talking with Kim, I came to realize they're not just dealing with a specific problem, even though it might seem like fire or water. There are lots of layers to all of this. How do you begin training folks to deal with that?
Well, it starts with a lot of hands-on training. We've got a couple of really great training facilities here at ServPro HQ. We have about a 3,500 square foot home built inside of our headquarters facility that we primarily use for fire and smoke training. Then we also have about a 1,500 square foot home that lives on campus but outside of the headquarters facility that we use primarily for water training.
Now, what about the other things that are involved? Do you have specific technicians that will help people get through that training process?
We do. We've got a large team here at ServPro HQ that specialize in water damage restoration training, fire damage, mold remediation, bioremediation, HVAC cleaning, all the various aspects that many times we end up encountering on various losses.
Well, these are all the different layers that I was kind of referring to, the things that we don't think about that are kind of under the surface of these problems. Well, how does one get involved in the training program? Like, how does that start for an individual?
When someone starts with ServPro as a field technician, typically their training will start with online training that we provide to all the offices. We have a very, very large learning management system, large library in that learning management system called ServPro U. Then once those technicians have the opportunity to gain some experience as well as some knowledge, then they usually end up doing quite a bit of hands-on training. Many times that ends up being carried out initially at each franchise location. Then a lot of folks will end up sending their technicians here to do some additional hands-on training.
What, though, would you say is the most common damage that you have to deal with?
Water damage certainly is the most common, whether it be from a broken pipe or a flood or a natural disaster. It definitely is the most common.
Well, let's get a look at where that hands-on training happens.
Let's take a look.
David, I'm glad I brought my jacket. It makes sense that this would be outside because you're actually going to flood this house for water restoration training.
Correct. It's about a 1,500 square foot home. It's got all the traditional finished surfaces that you would find in most anyone's home. What we typically simulate is what really is the most common damage that we deal with, and that tends to be plumbing leaks of some type.
Okay, can we get a look at it?
Absolutely. Come inside, take a look.
David, this looks like somebody's house. And I guess the whole point of this is to get your trainees into as close to a real world situation as possible.
Absolutely. When we flood it, We're actually able to replicate what someone would find in the real world.
Now, what's the most important part of a water remediation like this? What's the first steps?
First and foremost, just identifying all of the areas, all of the materials that are affected, that are wet. Then it comes down to really just controlling the atmosphere inside of the structure so that we can make sure that that's conducive for drying. We use things like our air movers to be able to deliver continuous airflow across those wet surfaces, and use things like our dehumidifiers to help us control the humidity of that space.
I know in addition to the water house, you also do smoke remediation right here on site. So I'd really like to get a look at that.
Sounds good. Come take a look. Greg, this is our fire training house.
All right, well, I mean, you call it the firehouse, but you really don't set it on fire. This is where you deal with smoke damage and things like that. So when you go into a home, how do you assess what kind of damage has been done before you begin the cleaning process?
That in itself can be a very time-consuming process. How about I just show you? Go
Sounds
inside. So Greg, this is our firehouse.
It looks like an actual house, David. This is amazing. Well, walk me through the process of how you get this whole thing going. You do have to do an assessment before the cleaning. Tell me about that.
Correct. That assessment, that evaluation of the loss site is a very important piece of the process. We'll start wherever the cause of loss started and just work our way out from there, because what we're trying to do is make sure that we're identifying all of the materials, all of the surfaces, and sometimes the hidden areas where soot actually is.
Right, as I look through this room and see all these different surfaces, there's even the undersides of the couch or the undersides of the tables. So how do you deal with that? You've got hard surfaces, soft surfaces, carpeting, walls. How do you deal with all of that?
Smoke really goes everywhere. We're really fortunate to have a chemist on staff that helps to formulate very specific products so that we can attack soot from all those different types of materials.
Is that the biggest challenge you come up against?
It certainly can be a challenge. One of the biggest challenges is just making sure that we've removed all of the soot from a structure, which means finding all that soot and all those nooks and crannies, and all those places where you may not normally see, which ultimately leads us to the end goal of being deodorized.
Right, now that might also, I guess, include the ventilation system for a structure.
It does. The HVAC system and cleaning that HVAC system is a very important part of the overall restoration process. It certainly takes some very specific training as well as tools and equipment to pull that off.
Excellent. Well, David, this has been really informative. Thank you very much.
Sounds good. Let me show you out, Greg.
I'm at ServPro to discuss the assessment process for damage cleanup with Robert Bowles, Director of Service Line Development. ServPro uses advanced technology like thermal imaging and drones to properly assess every disaster response.
Hey, Robert.
Hey.
Nice to meet you.
Yes, good to have you here.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here. So I was talking with David, and he was telling me how important the assessment part of the process is in beginning a cleanup. But what I want to find out from you is a little bit more specifically about the techniques and technologies that are involved in making that assessment possible. Walk me through that.
So we're starting at the source of the damage and really trailing out to figure out how many different materials, different rooms are really impacted. And there's a lot of decisions that need to be made there. What's restorable, what's not restorable. Some of that's going to be dependent on industry standards. Other things are going to be just based on prior experience, what we know actually works.
Right. Now, as technology has progressed, say over the last 10 years, what sort of new technology are you using to make that assessment, and how is that impacting what you do?
It's a great question. So thermal imaging cameras are highly utilized out there in the field. 360-degree cameras, LiDAR technology. Most of our job files are completely digital, so just allowing for a lot of transparency in real time. And then to keep our people off of roofs during the inspection process, there's satellite imaging or even drones.
Right, so that's typically how you would handle a residential issue. But I know that you're also branching into doing larger commercial structures, and as Kim and I were talking about, even doing larger, even community-wide events and disasters. So I'd really like to find out a little bit more about the commercial side of things.
Absolutely. Well, let's head upstairs and we'll talk more about commercial.
Great, I'll follow you.
All right.
So what would be the main differences in assessing a larger commercial property as opposed to doing just somebody's residential home?
Sure. Well, a lot of the materials can be the same. It really comes down to looking at how quickly we need to be able to get certain areas of the building back up and going. And that's working with those particular people that use that space, function in that space.
Right, because in any commercial scenario or business, days down is dollars out. Like you're just not making any money, so it's really important to get back up and running as quickly as possible. Are there any specific challenges in doing that in a commercial property?
The first big one is the amount of stakeholders involved. So it's not just a property owner, but it could be property representatives, general managers, facility people that just need to be involved with that. And there can be a variety on the insurance side as well. So we solution that by just making sure that we've got continual communication, keeping everyone in the loop. And then size is a big thing. It's not just bringing more equipment to larger spaces, but it's about being able to flex more manpower and bring in more people. And potentially, if the deadlines are demanding of it, multiple shifts to make that happen.
Now, when you're dealing in a typical office scenario, or maybe even in an industrial space, we're talking about some specific equipment. It could be printers, computers, the things that you would generally see in any office, but it could also come down to larger pieces of industrial equipment. Do you have specific technicians that handle those specific areas?
It's what you know and it's who you know. And it's understanding what are those particular items like large industrial equipment that we need to be very cautious with, and then bringing in specialists, not only to do the work, whether it's cleaning or any kind of troubleshooting with the item, but to make sure they're a part of the evaluation as well.
So identifying that is pretty key.
Absolutely.
All right, well, thank you very much. This has been great.
Yes, it has been. Let me go ahead and see you out.
Great.
I'm at ServPro meeting with Equipment Manager Bill Spicer to discuss how restoration over rebuilding benefits both customers and the environment by minimizing displacement and reducing waste.
Hey, Bill.
Hey, Greg.
Nice to see you.
Good to see you.
Well, Bill, this is a pretty impressive view. I guess this is how you make sure that all of your folks have all of the things necessary to get the job done that they need to do.
Yeah, when we're looking at what we want to bring in, and we need a lot of it, we want to make sure that it's quality, effective, efficient for the work that they have to do to restore buildings, get the situation back to like it never even happened.
I got to talk with Kim and David and Robert. Now with Kim, I talked a bit about the history of the company and how it's expanding. David and I talked about your extensive training program, and that's really impressive. Robert and I focused a little bit more on the differences between a residential home and a commercial property. But what I want to find out about from you are the benefits of restorability versus rebuilding. What are the benefits of restoring for your customers and then also for the environment?
Sure. So restoration is really our world. And the thing is that if we can restore for the customer, it's less displacement. It's an impactful event already. They don't like it. And if we can keep them in their home, if we can keep their existing building materials and restore them, dry them, get them back to an existing condition without cutting things up, tearing things out, when you start doing that, you're displacing people and you're in turn affecting the environment because then you're tearing stuff out, it's going into landfills, getting into the air. So in the end, restoration has a lot of benefits both for the person in the property and for the environment.
Right, and I guess keeping those materials in place is always going to be a benefit because you just don't want to add more stuff to a landfill.
That's exactly right. And the thing is that you can't underestimate how much stuff just gets dumped into the landfill that isn't going to break down and it's not going to degrade. So it's a pretty important thing.
Bill, thank you very much. This has been really informative. Kim is actually going to head up and talk to George, and I've got to get on out of here.
Let me show you out.
Hey, Kim, welcome to Invention Land.
Hi, George. Thanks for having me.
Well, I couldn't wait for you to get here. Greg's been telling me all about this disaster relief technology. So what's the story?
Technology has become such a huge part of our business and our industry, not only to help our teams in the field, but also to help our customers because we want to use it to help streamline communication and make the overall process less stressful. We're actually now experimenting with AI to help our teams in the field with training, but also to do a little bit of predictive modeling when it comes to these weather-related events, so that we can better position our teams ahead of a storm event so that once that storm is out of the area, they can move in more quickly and efficiently.
That makes so much sense. So you're out ahead of the storm, and if it was me and if I don't know that's coming, I'd be back to the old days where it's the old broom and mop, you know?
We've evolved quite a bit since then. We've now got state-of-the-art technology and cleaning products as well. We've got an incredible team that goes out and makes sure that we've got the best products in our product line. They do pressure testing, they do testing on different surfaces, they do different damage cleanups to make sure that our teams have the best equipment so that we can help you get back in your home or business more quickly.
Well, and that's really all I really want, right? If I have a disaster in my house, I want to get back in as fast as possible, or I want to get my business back up to speed, right?
Yes, it's really important. Speed is so critical because we not only want to get you back in your home or business quickly, we also want to prevent secondary damages from happening. So it's really important that we get in there as quickly as possible so we can get things back to normal for you.
Well, thank you for everything you're doing. All that continuous innovation really pays off.
Absolutely.
Well, everybody, that's another edition of Tomorrow's World Today. We'll see you next time. So, Kim, it just so happens that in season 1, right where we're standing, we had a sprinkler head explode on us right before we shot the show. Water was everywhere. So I thought we could talk about that and take a tour of adventure. And remember, Tomorrow's World is where inspiration and creation drive innovation in production.